it down from Bira to down, and now it is not working. So it got delayed. 1 second. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Sorry for the delay. You're presenting the screen. How many times I'm presenting? Okay. So in the last class, we were discussing about real time computing. All this I've done. So next we move on. Okay. So I have stopped system programming Unix. Okay. In the last class, I've stopped here. That's what communication model. How do we communicate between process A and process B? So this we have seen in the last class. So next we move on to our system programs. Our system programs provide a convenient environment for program development and execution. They can be divided into file manipulation, status information, file modification, program language support, program load and execution, communication, application program. So that's what we have seen about the system programs. MS-DOS system structure. So what is MS-DOS? MS stands for Microsoft Office disk operating system, written to provide the most functionality in the least space, not divided into modules. Although MS-DOS has some structures, its interface and level of functionality are not well separated. So what is in MS-DOS is, so written to provide what is MS-DOS? Microsoft Office disk operating system. Written, who did this has written? It was written by a Microsoft people, and what it was done is it was not divided into modules. So everything is was there in one place. So like suppose you think that only one person is doing the project, others are not doing. Everything will be only with that particular thing. That's what is called as a not divided into modules. So although MS-DOS has some structure, its interface and level of functionality are not well separated. So then you can see MS-DOS layer structure. So this is the ROM. So ROM, I think you'll be knowing BIOS device drivers, MS-DOS device drivers, a resident system program, application program. So in this case, you can see the layers, MS-DOS layer structure. So ROM, random access memory. So everything, suppose if now I want to start my thing, so then what we are doing, read only memory, BIOS, whatever is there, it will be present in a hard disk. So if I want to use anything, then I'm bringing all those hard disk material to a ROM. So after this, so we operate with the operating system. So in that case, we need something called as a device drivers. So then resident system programs, how the residents, where all the data will be there. Then the next is application program. So how the application program is working. Unix system structure, Unix limited by hardware functionality. The original Unix operating system had limited structuring. The Unix OS consists of two separable parts: systems program, the kernel. The system programs, what are the system programs? So now suppose how to on, how to increase the audio, how to give this video, all these we are doing in a Unix system structure, and that is there in the system programs. So in the system programs, that's what we are doing there. So next we move on to a kernel. So what is a kernel? Kernel is a base of the operating system. Consists of everything below the system call interface and above the physical hardware. So provides the file system, CPU scheduling, memory management, and other operating system functions. A large number of functions for one level. So in this case, you can see Unix system structure, how the Unix system structure is. So down you can see kernel interface to the hardware. So we have something called as a terminal controller terminals, device controller, disk and tapes, memory control, physical memory. So then system call interface to the kernel, signals terminal handling character input output system terminal device, file system swapping bit block input output system, disk and a tape drive, CPU scheduling, page replacement, demand paging, and virtual memory. So these are the system calls for the interface where we are using a kernel. So next we move on shell commands, shell and a command compiler and interpreter system library. So what is interpreter? Interpreter means line by line it will convert. So that's what is called as an interpreter. What is compiler? Compiler will execute complete page at one stretch. So that's what is called as a compiler. Then shells are commands. So how the shells and commands are being used. The layered approach, what is present in the layered approach? The operating system is divided into number of layers. So we have seen in MS-DOS there was no layers. It was everything in one part. So whereas in a layered approach, the operating system is divided into number of layers, that is levels, each built on top of a lower layer. The bottom layer, that is layer 0, is the hardware. The highest layer, starting layer 0, layer 1, layer 2, like this, it keeps going till the layer end, is the user interface. So with modularity, layer are selected such that each uses functions or operations and services of lower level layers. So that's what about a layered approach. You can see in this diagram how this layered approach is forming. So we will start from layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 till layer m-1. So then OS layer structure. So next platform where the OS little bit modifications was there, and we have a layer 2, how the layer is being divided. So as we have seen in the last slide that all the layers are divided into layer 0, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 till layer n. So the same way here, so device drivers, we use one device drive for pen drive, one device drive for connecting the internet, one device drive we may use something like this. So that's what is a system kernel. So memory management, task dispatchment, device management, this is what is called as a system kernel. Then subsystem, so application program interface, so subsystem API extension, application. So what are the application? Those are the applications. So microkernel system structure moves as much from the kernel into user space. Communication takes place between user modules using the message passing. Benefits: easier to extend a microkernel, easier to port the operating system to new architecture, more reliable, less code is running in a kernel mode, and more secure. So this is what a microkernel system structure. So then you can see Windows NT client server architecture. So kernel is a lower layer. So in that we may use any type of operating system. Let us take an example of Windows 32 application or Windows 32 server, or OS layered application or OS server. Then POS application and the POS application. This is what about a Windows NT. So first of all, what is NT stands for? NT is a network technology. So now we are using the classes through a online. So then what is this online? We are interacting through the online cable. So now we may use different network technologies. Right now we are using a Google Meet. So earlier we were using a Zoom. So like this we have so many, but all what are all these? These are the application which we may use it for network classes. Same way for any online classes we require some application. So right now we are using a Google Meet or a Hangout from a Google. So then what technology they have used? They used in network technology how to communicate. Now I am able to speak to you people, I am able to see to you and you people also can answer to me. So that's what is a Windows NT client server structure. So how this client server, what is client server? Server is the hard disk and client is where we are using. So now suppose you assume that now I'm doing a online class Google Meet. So where is the server? Because it has to connect. Where is the server? So the server will be in a Google. So that's the reason now we are recording. So when we are recording, after 5 or 10 minutes, they'll give me back what my class is. Because I'm recording, they'll give back my details. So, but who I am? I'm a client. That's what here Windows NT client server structure. Next one is a virtual machine. A virtual machine takes the layered approach to its logical conclusion. It treats hardware and the operating system kernel as though they were all hardware. A virtual machine provides an interface identical to the underlying bare hardware. So the operating system creates the illusion of multiple processes, each executing on its own processor. So that's what about a operating system what we have seen. One second. I'm recording, right? Yeah, fine, it's working. Okay, so in the virtual machine. So now what is the thing we have? Virtual machine is what? So which is not physically present. So that type of machines we call it as a virtual machines. So virtual machine takes a layered approach to its logical conclusion. It treats hardware and the operating system kernel as though they were all hardwares. So how do we see? Now you can see sometimes the virtual machine means we have a hard disk, and in this hard disk we sometimes use small part of the hard disk as a virtual means time being, and we are using, later we may close it. So that's what a virtual machine takes the layered approach to its logical conclusion. Layered approach is what? Layer 0, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, like this we may have different layers, and the last layer what we have, we are saying it as a user. So that's what here. So and it's logically it is a conclusion. So it treats hardware and the operating system kernel as though they were all hardwares. A virtual machine provides an interface identical to the underlying bare hardware. So the operating system creates the illusion of multiple process, each executing on its own processor with its own. So that's what here what the virtual machine is doing. So virtual machine means which is not physically present, but still we can use the details. And the resources. So now the resources, what are the resources we require for the desktop? One monitor, keyboard, mouse, and a CPU. Again in CPU what we have, there are so many things. The same way here in virtual machine also, we are the source of physical computer are shared to the create virtual machine. So what we are doing, that's what I told, a part of it will be shared. So in that case we use a virtual machine. CPU scheduling can create the appearance that users have their own processor. Spooling and a file system can provide virtual card reader and a virtual line printer. So normal user time sharing terminal serves as the virtual machine operator console. Okay. So what is time sharing? So we just say what is the time taken to complete one particular process. Same way here in time sharing what we are doing. So right now you can take about your timetable. So first are every day Monday, first are operating system. Next maybe I am just saying data structure, maybe CN, maybe next DMS. So that's what we call it as a how these are being used. So there what we are doing, 1 hour one class, OS class, after 1 hour CN class, after 1 hour. So like this what we have done, we are doing a time sharing terminal servers as a virtual machine operator console. You can see in this case, so what we have done, non-virtual machine and a virtual machine. So in non-virtual machine what we have done, you can see it is not divided. So only one hardware kernel, that's what operating system, and the processor. So you can see in the diagram what is the difference between non-virtual machine and a virtual machine. Non-virtual machine is what it is doing, we are not dividing, and the work will be done only for one person. Same way, here in the virtual machine, you can see, so virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3 means it is being shared and you can parallelly do the work. So process. So here just for an example, we in this diagram, you can see there are 3 virtual machines. Means what? Three processors can work at the same time. So that's what is a virtual machine says to us. So what is the advantage and disadvantage of a virtual machine? The virtual machine concept provides complete protection of system resources since each virtual machine is isolated from all other virtual machines. This isolation, however, permit no direct sharing of resources. A virtual machine system is a perfect vehicle for operating systems research and development. The system is done on the virtual machine instead of on a physical machine and so does not disrupt normal system operation. So the virtual machine concept is difficult to implement due to the efforts required to provide an exact duplication to the underlying machine. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of the virtual machine. So virtual machine concept provides complete protection of the system resources. What is this virtual machine concept is doing? So it will give the protection for all the resources, whatever we are using in the virtual system. Is isolated from all other virtual machines. So it is different from, you can see just in the last diagram. So each one, VM1, VM2, VM3 is what? Virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3. But you can see all are separate. So it is not combined. So that's what is, it says here, the isolation, however, permits no direct sharing of the resources. So here you can see, because we have made it as we have virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3. But because we have made, and there is no sharing between those things. Virtual machine system is a perfect vehicle for operating system research and development. System development is done on the virtual machine instead of on a physical machine and so does not disrupt normal system operation. So the virtual machine concept is difficult to implement. So we just say virtual machine, but when we are implementing, when the manufacturers want to implement this, it is very difficult. And to provide required for an exact duplicate to a underlying machine. So that's what here what we are doing in virtual machine. It's not easy for implementation, but still the duplicates should be there. Now I told virtual machine 1, virtual machine 2, virtual machine 3. But how these are being divided. So that's what here is difficult to see advantages and disadvantages of virtual machine, where the virtual machine implementation is very difficult. Next, we have a Java virtual machine. So when you are running your Java program, you need some compiler. What is the name of that compiler? That compiler name is called as a Java virtual machine. So compiled Java programs are platform neutral bytecodes executed by a Java virtual machine. In short, we call it as a JVM. So JVM consists of class loader, class verifier, runtime interpreter. Just in time compiler increases performance. So you would have seen, you have done so many Java programs, how this JVM is working. Compiled Java programs are platform neutral bytecodes executed by a Java virtual machine. JVM consists of class loader, class verifier, runtime interpreter. Just in time compilers increases performance. You can see in this. So what is a Java virtual machine? So the host system, Java interpreter, verifier, and a class loader. And we have something called as a java.class file. So system design goal, user goals, and a system goals. What is a user goal? What is the work of user? So a user want to use any system, maybe your smartphone, maybe your ATM, maybe your desktop, anything. So everywhere we require a operating system. But again, it depends upon which type of application we are using. Suppose if we are using a banking, so related to that we require a software. So operating system should be convenient to use, each to a layer layer, reliable, safe and fast. Then system goals, operating system should be easy to design, implement and maintain, as well as flexible, reliable, error free and efficient. So what is a work with respect to system goal? So operating system should be easy to design. So whenever we say you just implement operating system, if we say system goals, how do we implement? So now for mobile we require operating system, for laptop we require operating system, any application anywhere you take right now we require operating system. Even you can take your washing machine, take micro oven, anywhere we require, but again it depends upon what specific usage we require. So in case if we consider a micro oven, so we can set what should be the heat, how many minutes, all this. But behind we have again a small operating system where it is used to increase the temperature or decrease, and the heat should be generated. So that in the same way here, so operating system should be easy to design, implement and maintain, as well as flexible, reliable, error-free and efficient. So what we do in a system design goal, these are the system design goals. So what is first one? User goal, and next is a system goal. What is user goal? Operating system should be convenient to use, easy to learn, reliable, fast, safe and fast. System goals, operating system should be easy to design, implement and maintain, as well as flexible, reliable, error-free and efficient. So mechanism and policies. Mechanism determine how to do something. Policies decides what we will be done. So what are the mechanisms we are doing? What is the policies? So the separation of policy from mechanism is very important principle. It also maximum flexibility if policy decisions are to be changed later. So now what is a policy in the BMSIT college? You have to start your classes by 8:30 and till 4:30 you may have class, lab or theory. So this is one policy. Along with that, you will be given a timetable where you have to follow the timetable also. So sometimes you may have seminar, sometimes you may have a labs, but you should be prepared what we are doing. So that's what here, that is one policy what BMSIT is doing. So then system implementation, traditionally written in assembly language, operating systems can now be written in a higher level language. Code written in a high level language can be written faster, is more impact, is more compact, easier to understand and debug. An operating system is far easier to port, move to some other hardwares if it is written in a high level language. So that's what a system implementation is being done. Next is system generation. Operating systems are designed to run on any of the class of machines. The system must be configured for each specific computer site. System generation, program obtained information concerning the specific configuration of the hardware system, booting, starting a computer by loading the kernel, bootstrap program code stored in the ROM that is able to locate the kernel, load into memory and starts its execution. That's about your first unit. So what we have done, what is there in the first unit? So in the first unit, what is an operating system? So we are using for anything we require the operating system, whether it is a small your hand, a smartwatch, take anything we require a operating system. Then simple batch system. So now we are doing in your lab different batches. So two batches we have done, 16 people, two batches. So two batches is what? One batch may be executing data structure program, other batch may be executing a DS program. So like this, what we have done, we have done a batches. Same way, even in the operating system, if we do batches, the execution of the process, the operating system switching from one batch to another batch system, it will take time. So instead of that, all C programs, if you execute at one time, then you can get the results fast. The same thing here. Simple batch system, combine whatever the simple batches are there, make it into one. Now all C programs you execute at one time, all Java programs execute at one time. So that's what is called as a simple batch system. So then what is multi-programming batch system? Multi means what? Many. Programming means I may use a C, C++, Java. I should be, my operating system should be in such a way that if I execute or if I have a compiler C, it should work. If I have a Java compiler, it should work. So that's what here multi-programming batch system. So next is time sharing system. So what is this time sharing? Just now I told classes are being shared. So the timing is what? So we start from 8:30 to 9:30 one class, 9:30 to 10:30 one more class. So 10:55 to another is one more class. So then we are using a time sharing system. So then personal computer system. So what is the personal? So now every one of you have a PCs. So what we are calling it as a personal computer system. Then what is parallel system? Parallel means we can take an example of two labs going parallelly for second semester MCA students. Maybe one lab for Java you're doing, another lab maybe for CN. But what we are doing parallelly, we are conducting a two labs. Same way in the operating system also, we may use a parallel system so that the work can be done very faster. So that's the reason we are using a parallel system. And a distributed system, so suppose if you think that I have kept everything in one place, and if that system is not working, my system is not working, so then what we are doing? So we are uh, all data, everything is lost. Instead of that, if the anything important thing, if you have kept in two or three places, and if one system goes, still we can take back the data from two more systems where you are keeping a copy of it. That's what is called as a distributed system. Next is a real time system. So what is this real time system? So we are using so many real time applications. So real time application or ATM machine where we are using operating system. Our mobiles, we are using operating system. Smart watches, there also there are real time applications where we are using a operating system, but based on what type of system we require. And now we've started with the operating system. So what is the operating system? A program that acts as an intermediary between a user of a computer and a computer hardware. So what is an operating system? It's a intermediary between user and the program. So now suppose you think that I am taking a class, I am acting as a intermediary between second semester students and the department, MCS department. So what I am doing, I am handling one subject operating system. I am becoming the intermediate between the students and the department, and we start preaching. Same way here in the operating system also. So operating system is what? Intermediary between user of a computer and a computer hardware. And we have seen what are the system goals. So what are the goals of the system? Execute user program and make solving user program easier. Make the computer system convenient to use the computer hardware in an efficient manner. That's what a operating system is. Then what is the computer system components? What are the components we require generally for any computer? Is we require a hardware. So what are the hardwares we require? We require CPU, memory, input output device. Then what is operating system? So control and coordinate the usage of the hardware among the various application programs for the various user. So application program defines the way in which the system resources are used to solve the computing problems of the user. Compiler, database system, video games, business program, all these are a computer system component. Then user, people, machine, and other computers. So this is what the components of the computer system. So we can see by this diagram what are required. First, we require a hardware. I require a keyboard. I require mouse. I require monitor. I require CPU. So these are the hardwares which we required for anything for operating. If you want to use any operating system, first we should have a hardware. So using that hardware, we install the operating system in the hard disk, and we have a system and application program. So system programs are something like where I want to on my system. Then you click on a power button. So then it will on. So that is one system application. You may have application programs. So now in your system, you would have downloaded Java program and Java compiler. So you require for executive program. That's what here all the users. One user may require a compiler, another user may require assembler, another user may require a text editor. In the same way, may be so many people, so many different system components they require. Some may be using on the database. So that's how the abstract view of the system component. How do we define the operating system? So resource allocator, how the resources are allocated, manages and allocates resources. Control program controls the execution of user programs and operations of input output device. Kernel, the one program running at all time, all else being application programs. Simple batch system, hire an operator or a user, add a card reader, reduce setup by batching similar job, automatic job sequencing, automatically transfer control from one job to another. Find first rudimentary operating system, resident monitor, initial control in monitor, control transfer to job. When job completes control, transfer back to the monitor. So then memory layout for a simple batch system, operating system and a user program area. So then what is control card? So how does the monitor allow about the nature of the job, whether I should use a Fortran, whether I should use a assembly level language, whichever type of compilers I load, my operating system should be in a position that it should handle. So then same way, how does the monitor distinguish whether from one job to another job, or whether it is a data or data from the program? So to do this, they were using something called as introduced control cards. So these are the control cards which specially used for each thing. Special cards for job, special cards for functions, run, data, and end. So this is a simple card that tells the resident monitor which program to run. So in the same way, special character distinguishing control card from data or a program cards in column 1, and 2. So this is what the control cards are. So the control cards, parts of the resident monitor. Control card interpret, responsible for reading and carrying out the instruction on the card. So loader load systems, programs and application program into the memory. Device driver knows special characteristics and properties for each of the systems with systems input output device. Problem, solve performance, input output and CPU could not overlap the card very slowly. Spooling is what at overall input output of one job with computation of another job, executing one job, the operating system, reads next job from the card reader into the storage area on the disk. Job pooling, data structure that allow the OS to select which job to run at a particular thing. Several multi-programming batch system. So multi-programming means what? Multi means what? Many. Programs means I may use a Java, I may use a C++, I may use any type of jobs, any type. Maybe one time I may start audio, one time I may start video. So any of this should be in a working part. So that's what a multi-programming. Several jobs are kept in a main memory at the same time, and the CPU is multiplexed among them. So what is this multi-programming? Is many jobs running at the same time, or it is being placed in the main memory to work at the same time. So CPU is multiplexed among them. So you can see in this diagram, operating system, job 1, job 2, job 3, job 4. So what is the size? It is 512K bytes of memory is being used. And what are the features of multi-programming? So input-output routine supplied by the system, memory management. The system must allocate the memory to several jobs. CPU scheduling, the system must choose among several jobs ready to run. Allocation of device, how do we allocate the device? Time sharing system, interactive computing, the CPU is multiplexed among several jobs that are kept in the memory and on the disk. The CPU is allocated to a job only if the job is in the memory. The job is swapped in and out of memory to the disk, the online communication between the user and the system is provided. When the operating system finishes the execution of one command, it seeks the next control statement not from a card reader, but rather from the user's keyboard. Online system must be available for user to access the data and the code. The next personal system, nowadays you can see everyone, each one student have their laptops. So they do their own personal things. So that's the reason the personal computer has came into existence. So in the personal computer, what you will be loading? One operating system, maybe any type, any operating system you would be use in the personal computer. Maybe Unix, Linux, Ubuntu. There are so many operating systems which we depends on our user we use. And let us assume that in the second semester you require a C compiler for data structure programs. You require a Java compiler for run your Java programs. You need a for running the computer network programs, you need a compiler. So in the same way, that's what which type of operating system, which type of applications or softwares you require for second semester, you may not use it in the third semester. Then you have to change. Then what you may do, you may delete some of uninstall your softwares, whichever you require for second semester you will keep. Third semester you may not require, then you may uninstall them. That's what here we do it in a personal computer system. So personal computer system dedicated to a single user. So now one laptop for one student. That's what here. So in that case, what are there? And display screen same way like this: keyboard, mice, display screen, small printer. So user convenience and responsiveness can adopt technology development for large operating systems. Often individuals have sole use of computer and do not need advanced CPU utilization of the protection features. And we have seen what is the operating system and from when it is started, now what is a position. We have seen initially started with mainframe, then mini computer, then microcomputer, then computer networking, and in which year what compilers, what resident monitor, what was the time sharing, when was multi-user, when was multi-processor, when is distributed operating system started. All these gives in this slide. And parallel system, that's what, to increase the working, then we use a parallel system. So this is what the diagram what we have seen, that is a system symmetric multi-processing architecture. You can see here CPU, there are n number of CPUs but only one memory. Parallel means I can give work for one CPU, one processor, another processor, because the work can be done faster. And in this case, there are so many CPUs but only one single bus and a memory. So real-time system, often used as a control device in a dedicated application such as controlling scientific experiments, medical imaging system, industrial control system, and some display system. Well-defined fixed time constraint. This is what a real-time systems are. Hardware, a real-time system. Software, soft real-time system. Secondary storage, limited or absent. Data stored in the short-term memory or read-only memory. Conflict with time-sharing system, not supported by general purpose operating system. Soft real-time system, limited utility in a industrial control or robotic. Users in the application, multimedia, virtual reality, all this we can see in the real-time system. Then distributed system, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages we have seen. So then again in distributed system, it can be just a simple distributed system, or it can be networked operating system, distributed system, or distributed operating system itself. How the work to be distributed. Cluster system, so make two or more system combine and making it as a cluster. So in the same way in your mini projects also, what we have done, we have made two people to work on one project. So that is one cluster. So if it is 60 students, how many clusters we have? If we make only two people each project, then 30 clusters we have. So that's what it provides. Making a cluster it gives us a high reliability. Handheld devices. So first one is cellular phone. So every one of us have a mobile. So right now, nowadays, every one of us using a smartphone. So, but what is a disadvantage or what is the issues we have with respect to handheld device? It is a limited. So you can see the screen is only this much, and it is very difficult to see the screen. Limited memory. So compared to hard disk, compared to your system or a laptop or a mobile, the mobile is having a less memory. In the same way, slow processor. Compared to your high-end system or high-end laptop with the mobile, still there is a lot of changes. Now, just take an example. My laptop was not working. I thought I'll do it in a mobile, but I am not able to record here. The same class what I am taking, I'm not able to record in the mobile. So that is like this. We have so many disadvantages with respect to a handheld system and a small display screen. So we have a small display screen where it is not big. So now your whatever I'm seeing, the displays also can be big one. So what is computing environment? So traditionally, how the people were calculating. So we would have used a small initial starting days. We were having a calculator where you can do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So later on, we have a calculator with a scientific calculator where you can do so many calculations within a calculator. Something like san, tan, there are so many things. Same way, even in the system also. How was a before system, it was very big. It was taking one complete room. And as the days passed on, as the technology increased, so from one room now it is like this. Even in small, in my mobile also we have a calculation or increased. So after that, but that was only a standalone system. But I don't want standalone system. I want to increase. Then we've started with the web-based computing. So web-based computing, the same way now you can see we are taking online classes. We require a internet connection. So then what software I require? I require a Google Gmail account to be opened along with that, because everything is there in the Gmail account only in my account. So then I can just on the Google, then it definitely all other features which are required will come automatically pop up. So that's what is a web-based computing. Then embedded system, combining so many things, combining one system with the other system. That's what is called as a embedded system. Then what is system operating system structure? So system components, operating system services, what these are all the structure which are there in the operating system. So one is system or components, operating system services, system calls, system programs, system structure, virtual machine, system design and implementation, system generation. So then what are the common system components? What are the components we require for any system? We need a processor, we need a main memory, we need a file management, input output system management, secondary management, and networking, protection system, command interpreter system. So these are the components which we require for any type of system. So then what is, we see one by one. One is a process. So how do we process? How do we manage the processors? What is a process? It is a small program in execution. Process needs certain resources like CPU time, memory files, input output device to accomplish its task. So then what is operating system is responsible for the following activities: is connection with the process management, process creation and deletion, process suspension and reassumption, provision of mechanism for process synchronization, process communication. So main memory management, memory is a large array of words or bytes, each with its own address. It is a repository for quickly accessible data shared by the CPU and input output device. Main memory is a volatile storage device. It loses its contents in the case of system failure. The operating system is responsible for the following activities in connection with memory management: keep track of which part of memory are currently being used and by whom, decide which process to load when memory space becomes available, allocate and deallocate memory space as needed. File management. A file is a collection of related information defined by its creator. Commonly, files represent program, both structure and object forms and data. The operating system is responsible for the following activities in connection with the file management. So I'll just stop. So this is what we have seen in the first chapter. I'll stop here. We'll continue in the next class.